Okay. Okay, we still have a lot of people joining. It is 7 o'clock, but we're gonna wait because we have a lot of people signed up for today. And I will say that because this is in a webinar format, participants are automatically muted. So you don't have to worry about that. And I'll say it now and then I can repeat. This is being recorded. The recording will not be emailed, but it will be on the Battle of the Books website on that main information page. You'll have to give us a day or two to get the transcripts all in order, but once all that is done, it will be up on our website. And maybe wait another minute. We had about 425 people registered for tonight, and we're about half of that. You may hum the Jeopardy theme while you wait if you would like. Yes, I will confirm that participants are muted. Carrie has put information in the chat. If you have technical questions, you can about Zoom, you can put it in chat, and there is a Q&A section to put questions. We will do questions at the end. And because this is a webinar, you will not be on camera. You will just see the screen. So you don't have to worry about looking pretty for the camera. All right, I'm going to do an official welcome. Welcome to our information meeting for the 2022 Battle of the Books. My name is Stacy Friedman. I'm the Children's Services Supervisor here at the Miller Branch. I'm here with Simone, who's going to be walking you through everything for our battle. And just to let you know, this is going to be very general information. Your kids have probably heard all of this in their library media class. So hopefully they are very excited. Hopefully you'll be very excited for this after we are all done. There are still a lot of unknowns that we're going to be working on. And as soon as we know more, we will share more with you. But tonight, this is just the basics to give you a general idea of how the battle works. And as I said earlier, this will be recorded. We do have the closed captioning on, so you can follow that way. Also, if you have technical questions, please put them in the chat. If you have questions about the battle, there's a Q&A section. We will answer questions at the end. Hopefully your questions will have been answered by Simone's presentation. And I'm going to turn it over to Simone.
Thank you, Stacy. Can you hear me clearly? Good, perfect. Yes, welcome everyone. We're excited to get started on next year's battle. We are putting everything together, as Stacy mentioned earlier. So we're just going to go over the basics for helping all of our teams and students and coaches and families prepare for the battle. So with that, I'll get started. So the 2022 Battle of the Books. We are. All right, so what is the Battle of the Books? So for folks who are not as familiar, A+ Partners in Education, that's HCLS in the Howard County Public School System, hosts this academic competition for Howard County fifth grade students. The teams include 5 students from the same school. I just want to make a point of clarification here that it will be 3 to 5 students on a team to participate in the battle, anywhere from 3 to 5 students, 1 adult coach over the age of 18. And our teams are going to read 10 predetermined books this year. All participants are going to receive certificates. The goals for the students are to build teamwork skills, learn good sportsmanship skills, read different genres, an example, science fiction, graphic novels, nonfiction, etc., increase reading comprehension, and to have fun. So our registration process is the same as previous years. Coaches will need to provide the following information to register each of their team members. So we'll need the student's name, their parents' phone number, and parents' email address that is checked regularly. Of course, this will be the account that we use to send all battle-related correspondence. So again, the student's name, their parents' phone number, and the most used email address. For the coach, we'll need your coach's name, phone number, and your most regularly checked email address, and as well as your mailing address. We'll need a team name and the name of the school. So again, for registration, each team can have up to 5 members to register. Alternates are not permitted, but in order to compete on the day of the event, you have to have at least 3 team members present to participate at the battle itself. So just keep that in mind. And each team is going to receive 1 set of books to share and prepare for the battle. Coaches, so your duties and your goals are to build team spirit, encourage good sportsmanship among your team members, set up regular meetings with your team, encourage and reward students, convey information from the library system to your team members and their parents, respond to communications from HCLS in a timely manner. So generally, we know that, as Stacy mentioned before, we're still putting together the details of our event for next year, but we know that in general, there's going to be a moderator asking questions about each of the books. There's going to be at least 1 question about each book, and the teams will have about 30 seconds to discuss their answer and submit that to us. And getting into our 2022 titles. So again, we have 10 books this year. The first here is Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. And I will say a copy of this presentation will also be added to our Bob website so that you can actually click through. This is actually a video of the book trailer right here. I'm not going to play it right now, but each slide has that available. So just if you want to go back and take a look at this more in depth, something you can do later. Our second title is Maya and the Rising Dark by Rena Barron. Our third title is Whoosh by Lonnie Johnson, Super Soaking Stream of Inventions. I'm sorry, Whoosh, Lonnie Johnson, Super Soaking Stream of Inventions by Chris Barton. Sorry about that, guys. And I'm going to turn off my camera just to save some bandwidth here. Okay. All right. All right, the next title is Dragons in a Bag by Zetta Elliott. Next is Belly Up by Stuart Gibbs. Amina's Voice by Henna Khan. I Survived the Great Chicago Fire, 1871, read by Nicholas Dressel and Lauren Tarshis. The Bridge Home by Padma Venkatraman. And Ways to Make Sunshine by Renee Watson. And lastly, Science Comics Coral Reefs, Cities of the Ocean by Maris Wicks. So those are the 10 books that everyone will receive in their bags this year. Just a couple of important dates to note. October 25th to November 5th, online registration will take place. So it opens on Monday. Registration is going to close on November 5th or when capacity is reached, whichever one of those comes first. And then the next time we'll see you all is November 15th at 7 p.m. for the mandatory coach meeting. That will also be held via Zoom. And of course, we hope to have more details about the event format itself. Following that, bag pickups will take place in December this year. So that's a little different from last year and the year prior. So December 2nd, December 3rd, and December 4th will all take place at our Miller branch. Contactless pickup of book sets for each team will be held. We have different times here just to accommodate everyone's schedule. So on the 2nd, that will be 11 to 1. On the 3rd, 5 to 7 p.m. in the evening. And on the 4th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the deadline for permission forms and student information this year is going to be February 7th. And that's all student information, all permission forms, no changes, to names and team names beyond this point. So please note that, very important deadline. And then the next mandatory coaches meeting, mandatory logistics meeting for coaches will be held in March. It will be toward the second half of the month. We're just determining a date at the moment. And our tentative date for the 2022 battle is April 22nd, 2022. That is our tentative date for the battle. All right. And as always, we thank our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, the Josephine B. Scheffenacker Education Trust, as well as the Friends and Foundation of Howard County Library System, Howard County Public School System, and the Yolanda and Frank Bruno Family Fund. As a reminder, you may register at hclibrary.com/Battle of the Books and find all of the updates you need. And let me just repeat that. Yes.
It's hclibrary.org.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. Register at hclibrary.org/battle-of-the-books. Just clarify that for the record. So use the link to register on Monday, as well as keep up to date with all of this, all of the important dates, as well as all of our presentations and important documents that you'll need to prepare. And that is it. So I think we can move into Q&A, Stacy.
Yes. So we've got a bunch, and there's also a lot in the chat. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the questions that are in the Q&A, and some people have put them in the chat. If you put them in the chat, I can't look in both places because there's just way too many things going on. So if you could please move your question over to the Q&A, I will get through them. And I'm going to be answering these questions live. So you don't have to worry, we're not going to type them up, but when you go back to the recording, there will be, you'll hear it in this section. Okay, so here we go. What is the minimum number of students per team? The minimum number is 3. So registration, when you register, you can do 3 to 5 students. We ask that you try and strive for 5, because just in case something happens and someone isn't able to participate at the last minute, you still have that minimum of 3. If you start out with 3, we are allowing that this year to start out with 3, but if somebody drops out, you're going to be really scrambling for that. Okay, next, can a group be created with 6 students? Will there be an exception considering kids residing in the same neighborhood? No and no. We really have to cap it at 6. If you have a lot of trouble and can't figure that out, then worst case scenario, you could do the 3 and 3. But I would try to see if you can somehow get 2 teams out of that team of 6 students, because we're not doing exceptions for that. Why is email and phone number required?
Stacy, I think you meant to say, Stacy, I'm sorry. I think you meant to say cap it at 5.
Yes, cap it at 5. Sorry. Sorry. The questions are bumping up and I'm losing track. So yes, the maximum you can have for a team is 5. Why are email and phone numbers required? Because if we have any questions about your team, this way we can get in touch with you. And also, we definitely need an accurate email address for the coach, because this is how we're getting all the information out to you that you share with your teams and families. How are the teams formed and the coach selected? That is not something that we do. You guys will decide that. You can check in with your school's media specialist. In some schools, the media specialist is assisting with that. Very often the kids are forming their own teams and asking around parents or teachers to be coaches. So there is not one way to do that. Are private school students allowed to join, or is it only public? Absolutely, private schools are more than welcome to join. We've had several private schools who have joined us in the past. OLPH has joined us, Resurrection St. Paul. There's one who contacted me that I think it was Trinity that was coming. So it does not have to be public school. It could be private. The students just need to be in Howard County. Homeschoolers are also allowed to form their own team as well. The next question is about the info on the library calendar page. It says ages 6 to 11, grades 1 to 6. The reason is that's how the program forces us to input information. It is only grade 5. This is a very special event and it is only grade 5. So even though it has that, because the students fall into that range. So that's how we have to type it up.
It's also, Stacy, it's also for keyword searching purposes.
Oh, okay, there you go.
There's age grouping categories for keyword searching purposes and organization on the calendar itself. But we'll try to be sure for any future Battle of the Books information that we actually list the age as age 5 for the battle in the descriptions. I mean, sorry, grade 5.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be something. Okay, when will the competition take place? Our tentative date is Friday, April 22nd. Are all these books all available at the library, or do parents have to purchase them? So the books are available at the library. There are a variety of formats. I can tell you there are already holds on these books. Every team will be given a set of books to share amongst the team. Those are the dates for book pickup that Simone shared earlier. So every team will have one set of books. If you choose to purchase those books, that's totally on you, but you should not have to do that. We also have some of the books are available in other formats, such as ebooks or audiobooks, like that. The capacity, I'm not quite sure. Some of it is going to depend on if we're doing it in person, how many schools. But there are other things to consider. I do know that we have not reached it, so we'll have a better idea later, but you should be fine. Will we be sending any emails of this? Not of this entire presentation, but it will be on our website, which is hclibrary.org/Battle of the Books. Are only 5th graders allowed to participate in Battle of the Books? Yes, that is correct. Only 5th graders. Again, about capacity, here's my advice: register sooner rather than later. I understand if you have all your information, register closer to the 25th than the end of the registration time. Do we need to know our team name by October 25th when we sign up? You do not need to know your team name. in the presentation, and we'll go over it again at the coaches meeting, put in a placeholder, and then you have until, let me double check my piece of paper, February 7th. You have until February 7th to finalize
February
your team
7th,
name.
yeah.
Finalize your team name, and if any team members move around, you have until February 7th to do all of that. And as far as team names go, first come, first serve. So if you have this great name, if somebody else had it before you, we will ask you to please change it. So when you're working with your teams to come up with a team name, please come up with options. Please come up with options just in case you can't get the first choice. And I'm going to go off script for a second because I feel like, well, there's some chat things. Somebody was asking about the registration closing at 7, and they were confused by that. The registration closing that closed at 7 was registration for this meeting. Registration for the actual battle has not started yet, and registering for this meeting means that you can attend this meeting right now. It has nothing to do with the actual battle. Okay, so we did the team name. Can a link to this presentation be shared here? No, the link to the presentation will be shared on the website because we don't have that link. We're not going to have it until after. Can only public schools participate? We answered that. The answer is public and private and homeschools can participate. Oh, hang on. Do coaches register the entire team, or parents responsible for registering their student? So the coach is going to be responsible for registering the entire team. This is another case where you want to check in with your school's media specialist, because some schools, the media specialist has done all the registrations, but please, please, please check with the media specialist first. Don't assume that the media specialist is going to do it. It just really depends on the school. When you go to our website, if you print out the agenda, the agenda includes all the information you need to register. So it's a good idea to have that so you can ask the students for that information. In some schools, it's a little bit difficult to get all of the information from the students, depending on different situations. Feel free to talk to the media specialist to ask for assistance. Worst case scenario, as far as the contact information, such as a phone number or email address for the students, as a coach, if you want to put your email address and phone number there, because I mean, they are required fields, but this way it'll give you something for that. Okay.
Stacy, there's a question in the chat I want to give an answer to, and you and Simone can jump in. There's a question that says, because the event is virtual, we are planning Battle of the Books to be in person at this time. Simone, do you want to answer more to that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you repeat the actual question, Carrie?
So the question is, because this is virtual, are we allowed to have more than 5 people on a team? So my response is, at this time, we are planning this in person, and Simone had a little bit more information.
Yeah, and that's just it. That's our hope. Our goal is to hold this event in person this year, kind of return to our in-person format, or it may be kind of a new version of it, but we are following the guidance of, number one, the CDC, and secondly, our county and school system, to make the best decision, to ensure the safety of all of our participants and coaches. And then I did want to add one quick thing. I hope that answers the question about virtual or not. We are considering all formats, so virtual or hybrid or in person, but in person is our goal. I do want to add that in terms of participation, if your student attends the DEC program, the Digital Education Center for Howard County Public School System, they are also able to partner with other DEC students or with their home students from their home school. So that is on the agenda. It was not in the presentation, but it's on the agenda. And I just thought that's something we'd want to note here, since that's a little different this year.
And that's a very big exception to what we normally do, because it is an exceptional situation.
Right. And for the DEC students, we are also looking at virtual options for them, since they are attending school virtually. So stay tuned.
Okay. All right, here we go. 422 is tentative. What are the chances that will change? And if so, what date range would it fall within? we're really hoping for the 422, and I can't guess at this point. There's so many things that I can't even take a stab at because things change so quickly. So that's just kind of a wait and see. I would think it would be sometime in April. It would certainly not fall in the range of spring break at all. So don't worry about that. Okay.
Yeah. And it
What
wouldn't be
information?
before the 22nd.
Yes. Yes. What information is necessary for the online registration? Well, I need to enter names for each team member. Again, you'll find that on the agenda, which is on the website. And yes, you will need to enter the names, name, phone number, and email address for each team member. Oh, thank you, Jess, our plant in the audience. Some questions from chat. Email and phone number required so we can contact you. All of that is there. We just did that. Yay. Didn't the register thing close at 7? No, that was only for this meeting. We are good. Is the battle planned to be in person? Fingers and toes crossed. We are hoping that it's going to be in person, but again, we have to wait to see. How to form the teams, check with your students, see if they have friends that they want to do, if they want to be in the battle together. If your child is having some difficulties, please check in with their 5th grade teacher or the media specialist to help with that. At the library, that is one piece that we do not do. That is something that you'll need to check with your child's teacher and or media specialist. Is team dress code mandatory? That is totally up to you. In the past, teams have decided on some kind of costume, whether it be as simple as a t-shirt with their team names or sometimes very elaborate. That is totally up to you. There are going to be some rules about that we'll talk about at the coaches meeting. Okay. Okay, there's a quote from something that I'm not sure what that applies to. For the first timers, what is the level of detail for the questions asked at the battle? Can you give an example? Hang on, because now my question and answer just went wonky. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can. Oh. Okay, hang on. I'm going to try and reopen.
Stacey, I can read them. I can read them to you if you want to answer. I can read them.
Hang on, that's really weird because they just disappeared. Okay, read them and I'll answer.
For first timers, what is the level of detail for the questions asked at the battle? Can you give an example?
So on our website, we will have some sample question and answers. I will say that the answer is always going to be the title of the book and the author's name. So you're not going to be asked what is the name of George's first cousin's sister or something like that. It'll be the title of the book and the author's name. Each question has a unique answer to, or is uniquely suited to a book. So there might be things that are close, but there will definitely be one answer to the question.
Okay. Is there any school that cannot come and can come, or any can come? So I believe that question was answered in any school and any school in Howard County. Any student who attends school in Howard County or homeschooling Howard County may create teams within their schools, homeschools, private schools.
Right. So yes, and every public school in Howard County will have at least one team, at least.
Mm-hmm. And it says, and what's to be determined. So that just means that there are details we have not yet been able to work out. Just bear with us in this time where everyone is asking for flexibility in this time of COVID and ever-changing processes and rules. Next one, Stacy. Hello. Is team dress code mandatory? Did you already answer that one?
Yes, we did. And no, it is not. It is up to you.
Can we have more than 5 people since this year is virtual? We already answered that. We're planning to be in person, so 5 is the maximum. What is capacity? We already answered that one. Will you get extra points for efficiency?
No.
You are just providing the answer. We're not writing out answers. You're given choices, like multiple choice to select your answers.
We've learned over the years that fifth grade handwriting is a very unusual thing. So you're going to be circling a letter and a number representing a title and an author.
Does each parent need to register his or her child, or does the coach register the whole team?
Coach registers the entire team. As a parent, please make sure that the coach is doing that.
Who came up with the list of books?
It was some people from the Howard County Library System and some people from the school system. We worked together to choose books. We looked for a variety of genres. We looked for a variety of reading levels, interests. We try to include nonfiction. We try and include a graphic novel in there. So we try, and it's really hard to get lots of different things in just 10 books, but we do try to do that. And we also needed to find things that were available in large quantities so everyone could get their own copy, or every team could get their own copy, sorry.
Okay, next one. Okay, so now let's see. What information is necessary for the online registration? Will I need to enter names for each team member? I believe that's already been answered. Stacy?
Yes.
Anything to add?
Yes, it's on the agenda. Once again, on the agenda. And if someone, maybe Carrie or Simone, if you can let me know, because there are things that are frozen on my screen. So I'm just wanting to make sure that people are still seeing the live transcript going as we're speaking, and I'll say more words so words come up.
Yes, they are. They
Okay.
are.
Okay, so
yeah.
something wonky is happening on my end now. So, okay, but as long as everybody else can see.
Yeah, closed
Okay.
captioning is working just
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Are there any previous battles available to watch? I've never done this before and want to make sure we are preparing the kids properly for what to expect.
So the only one that was virtual, so no, we did not. I don't think we had a recording that we were sharing beyond. Because when we had live battles, we did not record. Simone, can you remember
Yeah.
what had happened?
No.
Like,
No, I would say the only time that I've experienced us recording any battle was last year, the virtual battle, and I wasn't present, of course, for the previous year, the
right,
physical
okay.
battle. So we don't have a recording of it.
I would talk
Yeah.
to other parents at your school. And I keep saying this because they are overworked but fabulous, the media specialists at your schools. Most of them have experienced at least one battle before. And if not, there's an email address, Bob, B-O-B, at hdlibrary.org. You can send questions to that alias.
Okay, so there was a comment in here.
Another thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Carrie. I just wanted to quickly say another thing that may be helpful to folks who just have not even seen what this looks like in person and just wants to get an idea is our Flickr page. If you go to the library's Flickr page, you can go to the gallery of, or the album of Battle of the Books competition. So just, you have to scroll back a little bit because that was what, 2019. So just go through our albums and look at Battle of the Books, and you'll kind of see the students participating. There are some action shots in there of how it's run.
Okay, so the way the next question reads, I think it's what it's asking is if students can be on your team from other schools. No, all the students must be from the same school with the exception of the DEC students. They can team up with teammates from their home school if they choose. If they don't want to have a team just with the DEC students, they can team up with their own schools. It says registration for this event is no longer open. That was for this evening's meeting. Can we register a team of 3 students first and then add 2 more later, Stacy?
So you have until February 7th to make additions to your team. So yeah, if you need to do that, you could up until February 7th.
How many schools participate in Bob? You said usually there's a team from every single school in the public school system.
Mhm.
And do kids compete against groups within their school or from different schools?
So the way it has been in the past is, for example, if you were at Hollyfield Station, all the teams registered from Hollyfield Station would be at the same school. So all the teams from your school will be in the same place. You'll have teams from other schools there as well, but you're not going to be in two. If your teams from the same school will not be split up into different battle locations.
So the answer is yes and yes. Okay. Does the media teacher at the school have to be involved, or can parents be a coach?
So it depends on your definition of involved. You want the media specialist to be involved to some extent because they can help give you guidance as to what is going on in the bigger picture. But the parents absolutely can be the coach. In fact, most of the media specialists are not coaches because they're trying to coordinate all of the different teams from their school. But you definitely want to use them as a resource because you're going to get the best information from them or best assistance from them. So it's not like they're not taking over a coaching duty, but they definitely have a lot of resources to help you out.
And I would say that the level of involvement is different at every school.
Yes, that is true too.
Just, ask your students to check in with their teachers for guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is there virtual options for some of the events because I might not be able to make all of them in person? So Simone, I believe the future meetings are scheduled to be held virtually as well.
Yes, all of our future meetings are virtual. So that's November 15th and then again in March. Of course, the book pickups that happen in December are in person. 3 days in December at the Miller branch, but we're going to do contactless pickup as well and have multiple times for everyone. So that's the only time that will be, other than the event itself, hopefully in person.
Okay. And all of our meetings will be recorded like this one is. And
Yes.
as was stated, you'll have to give us a couple days until next Monday at the absolute latest to get it up on the Battle of the Books page.
Mm-hmm.
Who can register a team? Parents, or can parents register students individually?
The team has to be registered all at once. So you want the coach to be the one to be doing the registration. So if you're a parent but not the coach, please be in touch with your child's coach to make sure that they can get everybody registered in a timely fashion. But we definitely, we can't have all the different people trying to register because that would be a big mess.
Okay. How many rounds of battles will happen and how many questions per round? I will say it depends if it's live or virtual.
Yes.
Stacey,
So in the past, it's been 4 rounds. In the past, when it was live, it was 50 questions total, and the 50 questions were divided up. It was either 12 or 13 questions per round. I think last year for the virtual battle, we did 4 rounds and it was 10 questions per round for 40 questions.
Okay. So there's a question in chat.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a question in chat I'll answer real quick. It says, is there an email or phone number to ask questions in case we have any? First, I will say, please look at the Battle of the Books webpage. There is an extensive FAQ section. You can search the page or skim through those first, because a lot of your questions will be answered there. And if not, or if you need a quicker response, please email bob@hclibrary.org. Okay, next question, Stacy. Is the competition for the whole county or by school or something else? That was answered in some format. Anything to add?
So it is for the whole county, depending. Yeah, so everybody can participate in some manner. So there might be different version, like if we're participating in different schools, or last year in different Zoom rooms, there might be like 6 different competitions going on at the same time, but it's all one big battle.
Okay.
Correct. Yep. It's
Right.
countywide at multiple locations, in person or online.
Okay, so I have a question in Q&A and a question in chat. They're sort of related, so I will read the one in chat. If there is one set of books, does that mean the kids share each single book? Logistically, how does that work? Do kids read through the same book at the same time to prepare? That Stacy sort of answered that before. It is up to each team. When my child many years ago participated in Battle of the Books, we divided and conquered and split the books up between each team member, and we just kept rotating through the team until they had all been read. Another year, I was in a different county, so they participated multiple years. And another year, the team members teamed up. So two kids would read 4 books, and the other 2 or 3 kids on the team would read the remainder of the books. So they picked and choose. You decide how that works for your team. And it also says, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, they don't have to all have read them all at the same time. So you can, each child, when you have a meeting, each child could talk about the books that they've read. And at your meeting, like some teams will do at the meeting, then they'll change the books around. Or if you're in the same neighborhood, you can do porch drops or however you would like to do it.
And then how do we request books for the year? I think you answered it, Stacy, but anything else to add to that? So they get their books, but then how do they request them from the library?
So the books are all, like I said, we own all the books. We have, if you go to our website, there's a section with book lists where you can look for the this year's Battle of the Books books. It should be a catalog listing. It might not be up there yet. I can check tomorrow if it's there, because it should be close to being up there. And you can go online, look up the book and request it. You'd request it just like any other library book that you would request.
Okay, we answered that one. Do we get to know what the questions are at the competition beforehand?
Nope.
There's your answer. Okay, next one. What do team meetings consist of? Is there a requirement to hold them regularly? It sounds like you're referring to the actual teams that you are creating, Stacy.
So this is not a requirement, but teams they try to meet regularly, so you can talk about the books. Different coaches have different levels of involvement. How a lot of it is what the coach is available to do and what the kids are wanting to do. So some will meet monthly, some will meet weekly. Towards the beginning, as everybody's reading the books for the first time, you might not need to meet as often, just because you're spending time reading. But that is up to each team. There isn't a requirement from us how often you meet. That's something you want to check in with the students and check in with the parents too, to see how often they're able to get their kids to meetings. Some people will, if they're able to meet during the school day or right after school, they might do that. But check to see what your team wants to do.
Okay, so we answered that one. So part of this question, the first part we already answered, so I won't read that. The next part is, do they make posters, costumes? Please explain.
So I'll explain the 2 different versions. For the live version, or for both, actually, you can make a costume if you would like. Keep in mind, if it is live, the gyms can often be hot because they don't have AC. So keep that in mind. There are different restrictions that we have for the costumes for a live battle that we're not going to go into right now. But that's the level of involvement is up to you and your team. Keep in mind, this is a student competition. So, think about that because we want the kids to be involved with this, not necessarily the parents doing it for them. As far as a poster goes, for the live battle, the poster was simply a way to identify the team's name and the school. You could have the team members' names on it if you would like. You can certainly decorate it if you would like. For the virtual battle, they did, was it a Jamboard, Simone? I think that was the right name for it. So it's kind of a virtual poster for their team. So we'll know more about that when we know which direction the battle's going in.
Okay, one coach
Yeah.
or
I will add to
two.
that, Stacy.
Oh, mhm.
Oh, can I add really quickly?
Yeah.
Just that it is nice that they're in the physical version of the battle, the students do get to march in, and there's like a bit of a parade. So it is nice for them to have a poster, a team poster. And in the same thing for the virtual format of this, we did a digital poster parade. So students got to see
That's right.
their art digitally. They all contributed via Google Jamboard and sent us PDFs. So they get to see their artwork, their team's artwork online if we do it virtually. So I would say, it is encouraged.
Well, actually, it was kind of required too for the live version because we took team pictures of every team, and this is the only way we knew who everybody was. So yes.
Okay, so I'm going to let you know we have about 50 questions and climbing still to go. Some of them may have been answered, and I'll dismiss those when I get to them. But just if we can be a little bit more brief as possible, knowing that a lot of the answers are in your FAQs, and we will try to be more elaborate for questions that may not be in the current FAQs. So coach one or two, real quick.
You can have, definitely one if you want an assistant, that's okay.
And it's good to have a second coach or a co-coach or assistant coach, because if the coach becomes sick or something happens and they're unavailable the day of the battle, the team needs a coach to participate.
And honestly, we'll take any live body over 18.
A parent, yeah.
A parent.
Fill in that night. Okay. I keep getting this question. At this time, we are planning Battle of the Books in person, and we will keep following and adhering to county and CDC guidance and evaluate as we move along in the process. Next one, are fourth graders allowed to participate? Only fifth graders? How many teams will be there? Will there be in total? We don't have that answer yet. Will you ensure all schools have a chance to be represented before multiple teams from the same school are accepted? Simone?
Yeah, go ahead, Stacy, take that one.
I was going to say,
loaded timing.
All schools will be represented.
Yeah.
There is no question, all schools will be represented. So you don't have to worry about behind the scenes worries, because we will make sure that all schools are represented. We will go after the schools if we don't see.
We've already made the efforts to ensure that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's already started.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a comment. It's not a question, it's a comment that keeps recurring. So I will just address it briefly, is that if we can't have the event indoors, please consider holding it outdoors, such as the football field. I will tell you that pretty much so far, every high school has events on their fields the night of the scheduled battle. So that would not be a possibility.
That's one of the reasons we're trying to find places, is because schools have so many events on all of their athletic fields.
Yeah, so we hear you, and we're still working on the school event spaces, but just note that there are multiple athletic events every evening of the Battle of the Books at every location at this time. Can we have teammates from different schools? No, they need to be from the same school. Can you mix homeschoolers and kids in county schools?
No. Homeschoolers have to, homeschoolers should have an umbrella group, homeschooling group, and you would need to get people from that group that would be considered your school.
Right. So homeschool groups can mix, but not homeschool with private school or homeschool with public school. Okay. I don't understand the next question. Maybe one of you. Can we
I
also
can't see it.
have, I know, I'm going to read it. Can we also
Okay.
have teammates from in-person learning at our home school? I'm not quite sure unless that's talking about.
I guess if that means you're in DC, is there a question from somebody who?
It doesn't say, but that's
Yeah.
what I would think. If you are in the DEC virtual school, then yes, you can team up with students from your assigned home school. And I'm going to assume that's the question at this time. Can there be a second grader in your team? No.
No.
Do parents have to be coaches? No, they do not. But most of the coaches are parents. So when you go to the website, what places do you sign up? Go to hclibrary.org, battle dash.
You type in Battle of the Books without the dashes, it'll work too.
Thanks, Stacy. Help me out there.
I talked to Addison. It should work.
That's good.
Okay, after you register, can you change your coach?
You have until February 7th.
Yep, you have until February 7th to change anything, your team name, your coach, your students, your team amount, all of that, your information, just nothing changes after February 7th.
Okay, so will the books be new? This could be answered two ways. The books that we are providing to you have been newly purchased.
Yeah.
They may not be 2001 books. They could be older titles.
So you meant 2021. They're not brand new titles because we have to be able to buy them in paperback because we have to buy over 300 copies of everything. So it's not going to be brand new titles. They have to be available in paperback.
I thought of one more scenario, and yes, they are new to this event. So they're not any like repeat books from the past.
Correct. That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay, are there people already registered? I'm assuming the question is, are they registered for Battle of the Books? And that,
no, opens on Monday.
Yes, the registration form is not accessible. Will not be accessible until Monday morning.
Okay, I see dates for the book pickups in December. What are the times?
So again, I think it was 11 to 1, 5 to 7, and another 11 to 1. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to go back here, but we will ensure that the times are posted to the website as well. And if any of the times change, they will be posted to the website as well.
I have it December 2nd, 11 to 1, December 3rd, 5 to 7, December 4th, 11 to 1.
Perfect. Yep. That's it.
At what time will registration open?
I thought it's usually 10 a.m.
I was going to say 10 a.m. And just on that point, when it does close, it's 11:59 p.m. on November 5th or sooner if registration gets filled. So you have until 11:59 p.m. on November 5th for it to close.
Do not wait until 11 p.m.
Exactly.
So.
Okay. So during the first mandatory coaches session, will we get more information on what we have to do? The answer is yes. Will you get a list of the questions for the battle? No. There's samples, like Stacy has said, on our website. If we have books already blocked, how do we request books? And if we get a book, how long do we hold? So if you're placing a request for a book, Stacy, I think that's what it's referring to.
Yeah. So placing a hold for Bob books works just like you would place a hold for any other book. So there's no special block of books for the competition. You could have a random person who just happened to want that book and request it as well. So you would put a request on the book. You'll be notified by either email or phone call when it's in. You have the book for 3 weeks. Normally it would automatically, there'd be the automated renewal, but that's only if there aren't any holds on it. And I can tell you right now, there are holds on pretty much all of the books. You might find another version of the book that's doesn't have a hold on it. You might try that. But it's the same rule where you have it for the 3 weeks and then you have to give someone else a chance. And there are no fines for books for overdues now, but please be kind. Think of how you would feel if you were the person who was waiting for that book and someone decided to keep it out even longer than their 3 weeks. So please be kind and considerate when you're checking out your books.
I believe we also have books with the past listed on our website as a possible place to purchase it if like that's like the final opportunity that you have to get your hands on the books. So our bookseller is listed on our website, local bookstore.
Okay, I'm going to answer a couple of these really fast, and then I have one in chat for Stacy.
Okay.
Where will I find teen registration form? The form will be available when registration opens on the Battle of the Books website page. We already discussed books. Teams can share the books. Where will the battle be held if it's in person? If it's in person, it is usually held in high school gyms. At multiple high schools, the same time, the same night. I'm gonna skim down here. Okay, so Stacy, here's one for you while I'm skimming. Please explain the categories that are being judged and how many winners per location.
So that is something that I am not going to promise is going to happen. When we were live or in person, we had categories like best team name, best costume, team spirit. So those are things that we've done in the past. Because things are so different right now, I am not sure that we are going to actually have those categories. So I would not worry about that, other than to say, do your best, pick out an awesome team name, pick out a costume. You are doing something for yourselves. Make it something that you yourself are proud of. Don't worry if you would actually win a prize, because if you're proud of it, then you've already won.
Okay. The questions, will the competition happen in one day, or will there be a series of battles with finalists completing the last day? And at this time, and it has always been in the past, one battle, one day, one time, multiple locations.
And there is never a battle off. When we've had multiple locations, there was a winner for each location. There is no, okay, you're a semifinalist and then the final battle. It is this, each location had a winner. So there would not be runners up or anything like that.
Okay, Stacy, this next one's for you. April 22nd, which is the date we are holding tentatively for the battle, is during Passover.
Yes, I know. And as a volunteer, I can't eat pizza that day. It is not during, I don't think it is. I know it's definitely not during Seder's, so that's okay on that end. I don't think it's one of the last days. I can double check, but we've actually had it during Passover before. And I will say that, especially during the middle days of Passover, Jewish students do go to school, so it's not a holiday where you're not going to school. So that hopefully is not a problem.
It should be the 8th night of Passover.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on for now. If a teammate has a sickness and has to visit the hospital on the day of a competition, what would happen? So it sounds like it's relating to COVID protocol. So whatever the COVID protocols are in place at the school for school-sponsored events would have to be what's followed at that time. And we don't know what it's going to be at that time. Yeah.
If it's not COVID related, it's just something that has to do with another type of illness or a possible something that is maybe a recurring illness, as long as the team has 3 players or 3 team members that day, they can still participate. And if it's a true emergency type thing, hopefully you'd be able to contact us and we can see what we can do to accommodate.
Okay, so I am still skimming here. I see we are now at 8 o'clock. We can keep going for those who can stay on. I don't know what our end time was, Stacy or Simone, but I will tell you, as this is being recorded and it is captioned as well, many of the questions that I'm skimming have been asked and answered more than once. So you can rewatch this, you can look at our FAQs, you can just read the chat that will be recorded and posted, as well as options if you need to go at this point. So
And after,
Simone,
if you've
Stacy?
done all those things and still have a question, you can email us at bob@hclibrary.org.
Yeah. Carrie, how many questions do you have remaining?
Okay, so about 30. I have not skimmed too far in the chat recently. That's up to like 500 messages, but most of it is people talking to each other. I was just skimming
Yeah.
through to see if there was a question that wasn't moved to chat.
Maybe we can skim the 30 for just a couple minutes to see if there are any new questions, just to make sure that we hit on any really good ones. And I can give you like a time check at like maybe 8:10.
Okay, let's go.
You guys talk while I'm skimming, because there's a lot of stuff we've answered.
I think one thing I wanted to say, other than thanks everyone for all your dedication and returning again in these like tricky, challenging, and just still really uncertain times. Thank you so much for your dedication to your students. It's really nice to see all these numbers of interested adults in Battle of the Books for this year. And we really, really look forward to returning to this event, number one, but hopefully in person. One thing I'm thinking about the internal process as we speak, and one thing I think is helpful is upfront, if you do have a team name and it's solid and you have all of your information and it's really confirmed and good to go ahead and enter that. I think the fewer changes on the back end, even though you have that February 7th deadline, the fewer changes, kind of the smoother the process is internally for the person who handles registration. So just in thinking of that person, any definite information that you can provide upfront is very much appreciated by your Bob team here.
Okay, so here's a question. I don't think this was completely answered. Can you describe the format for the competition? Does each team get a certain amount of time to answer the question? So I would answer the second question. The first one will depend on if it's in person or virtual. Stacy.
And honestly, the second part will depend also. So when we're live and in person, for each question, the question is read twice, and this teams have 30 seconds to answer the question. And there's a person who says begin, 30 seconds go by, the person says time's up, and they hold their answer papers up, and we had high schoolers running to collect all of the answers, and we give them to judges at the front who will correct the answers as the battle continues. So it's a little bit different virtually. I think they have a little bit more time just because we have to pop them in and out into breakout rooms, and transitions and all of that. That takes a little bit longer. So they will have a set amount of time. And once we know what the format is, we'll be clearer on how much time that will be.
Okay, so
but I can say for people who are brand new to this, the questions are generally broken up into rounds, and there's always a break in between. So in person as well as virtually, there will be a break in between the questions of the event, and it is usually a 2-hour-ish event. So just to give you a better idea.
And honestly, the questions, I would practice with the 30 seconds because they should be able to answer the questions within 30 seconds. And 30 seconds is a lot longer than you actually think it is. So.
Okay, so there's a couple of questions here. Did you say the battle will definitely not take place before April 22nd? So if the date had to change, would it go beyond April 22nd?
So I think Simone said that no, it would not be
Not
before
before.
April 22nd.
Yeah, we were trying to avoid.
We won't be ready.
Yeah, that, and we're trying to just avoid any conflicts with like the school system scheduling. So I do know in looking at the date, we came to this April 22nd date after kind of fleshing out and vetting some of the dates prior. So our aim will be April 22nd or after. And I can add to that, I do think that we are more than likely going to stay with this date than, have it change. It's tentative, but it's not maybe as tentative as it seems in this call. That should most likely be our date. We're just ironing out one or two kinks.
Okay. The question now is it a verbal or written battle?
So the questions are answered verbally and the answers are written. So in a live battle,
the answers are not written. The answers are circled.
Well, they're circled,
Circle.
but they're not spoken.
It's not spoken, yeah. And the questions are asked, yeah. The questions are verbal.
Are spoken, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the answers are recorded. So in person, right, it's recorded. On paper. Virtually, it is selected on the screen. When we use Zoom for this year's battle, we use the polling feature.
The polls,
right. Yeah. So students, again, no one's saying the answer out loud. You're either selecting it on the computer screen or on a piece of paper in person.
Right. Okay. So I think this is what they're asking. So the questions are read out loud verbally, so the students are listening. When they answer, they are reading the answers and selecting from those answers their multiple choice response.
Yes.
That is correct.
There we go. Just making sure we clarify that one. Okay, so this one, my child goes to the DEC but wants to participate with his friends from Clemens, I think it's Clemens, CLES. Can he do that? If that is your child,
Centennial Lane.
Sorry, I'm getting mixed
up. As long as that's their home school, then yes, they can participate with their friends from that school. So your DEC students can participate with friends from their home school.
Okay. Okay, they wanted an example of the answer sheet. That will be in the next mandatory coaches meeting.
And when we get the coaches handbook up on the website, which will be it'll be closer to the coaches meeting, there is an example of that in the handbook as well.
Yeah, but again, it is just a multiple choice list of all the authors and titles, the correct author and title paired together. It's a multiple choice list of author and title answers.
The way for the live battle, it's a square and it has letters and numbers we did 1 through 20. And you had to circle the letter and you had a reference sheet. So you had to know
match it to the corresponding title and author.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that will be on the website and it'll be in the coaches handbook as well when that is up.
Okay. So the next question I can answer a little bit. Stacy might have a little bit more. Why was the book count reduced to 10? It was 15 books until 2 years ago. We've slowly been reducing beyond 15 books for many years now. We had more than that to start. It has to do with how many copies of the books, partly we can get from a publisher. Is the book in print in the quantity that we need to purchase? And if it's not, that reduces our number when we get down to the wire, but there's other factors involved too. Members of this group, of this committee, the Battle of the Books committee between the school system and the library, read all the books. And after reading the book, if there's questions as to, you know, is this a good fit? Does this fill all the holes in that we're trying to fill and areas we're trying to cover? Sometimes a book will be pulled or exchanged out, but mostly it's due to the fact we can't get the books from the publisher. Stacey, anything to add?
And the other piece is when we had 15 or 16 books, if we had, the more teams we had, the more expensive it became. So another thing that allowed us to have more teams is that we didn't have to buy as many books for them. So that, I think, was another influence on it as well.
And I'll add to that, we have, even though our book, the quantity of books has decreased for 2022, we are able to accommodate more teams this year than we did just this past year. So that has been increased and accounted for.
Right. And somebody asked if there was a supply chain issue. So all of that's already been addressed. I believe we have all the books, or almost all the books.
We have almost, yes, we have almost all of the books ready. And so the last ones, I think, are on their way, and they were ordered slightly later. So that was why. So I think we've lucked out so far with that. So.
Okay, types of questions. If you go to the Battle of the Books webpage, you will see samples of types of questions. And then when the coach's manual is uploaded, you'll see types of questions as well. And we talk about it. Yeah, go ahead.
We talk about it at the coaches meeting too.
And Carrie, this is your 8:10 time check.
Okay. Okay. Well,
are there a few more that we don't have?
I'll just skim for important. Well, they're all important, but I will skim to see. Supply chain. Next meetings were already answered.
Next meeting is November
15th.
15th.
What time?
7
p.m. Tuesday, November 15th. And that too is on our website.
The books are free, you do not pay. The library has acquired donations and funding to purchase the books for the teams.
And the books are yours to keep. So you don't return the books to us after the event.
Prizes, what do winners get?
That's to be determined. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, each team gets a set of 10 books to share and distribute among their team however they see fit. That was answered again. There is no rule for you practicing with your team. It is up to each team and coach to determine how much practice or how little practice you do. Who composes the questions for the competition?
You're looking at them.
Yeah, us and some folks from the
school system too.
The school system and us create the questions for the competition.
A very dedicated team.
It's a very involved process. We come up with our questions, we have meetings to go over the questions, and so I think they just keep on coming in. So we're at 8:15. There's just more and more questions. Most of them are questions that have been answered. So if people either watch the recording or read the transcript of the recording and look at our FAQs on the Battle of the Books webpage, you should get most of your answers. The answers we don't have yet are, will it be in person or virtual? We are just planning on in person at this time. And there is no fee to register. It is free.
Correct. Yep.
So go ahead, Simone, take it from here. I'm skimming through chat, but yeah, I mean, the chat is up to almost 700 comments, but it's people talking to each other.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the chat or the Q&A?
Chat.
No, the chat is up to like almost 700.
Yeah.
And it looks like we've had some helpers here trying to put questions from
some
chat
answers
into Q&A for us. So I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah, I'll just close. Thank you so much, Stacey and Carrie. I'll close by saying that I'm confident that between now and the next meeting, we'll answer most of your questions. Please keep checking the Battle website. We do keep that up to date with a lot of the same information we're sharing here. including the entire proposal, the entire presentation, the recording of tonight's meeting, as well as the agenda for tonight's meeting that also has more key information and dates. So check the site regularly. If you come up with a question, email us, bob@hclibrary.org. If there's, you just can't find the answer out there. And yeah, we still have quite a ways to go. So, we have time. I would just focus on getting your teams together, collecting their information, determining what your name will be, and just making sure that you have coaches locked in to really guide the students through the preparation process, and just being ready to pick up your books in December for now. Yep. So everyone just stay safe, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing you in just a couple of weeks. Anything from you guys? Carrie, Stacy?
No?
Yeah. All right.
That's all. We'll
Look
see
forward to it.
everybody
That's all,
very
folks.
soon. And Stacy, you want to close out the meeting here?
I can't. All my stuff is frozen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Okay, we'll just wait.
I will say goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Okay, Stacy, I have stopped sharing.
Okay.
We'll just have the room
Let me
clearing
stop
out
the
here.
transcript.
Okay.
I think I could. Oh, I don't know what happened, but everything stopped.
That is so
Like the
weird.
Q&A got all jumbled, and then I
Uh-huh.
couldn't do anything. I'm like, oh my God.